Welcome, people. This is the Open Minded Podcast. My name's Johnny,
And this is Isaac.
and welcome back. We are talking about Christmas today, and then we're going to go on to
Lockdowns. Our experience with both of them. And I think it's important to say that, like, everyone has different experiences with everything. So there's going to be points which people resonate with and points which people think, you're a weirdo for thinking that.
This is one thing I've been thinking about. It's like, we're not professionals on any of this. So, like,
Nope.
This is called the Open Minded Podcast for a reason. We're talking about these subjects. We want to talk about more in-depth subjects like this. But we're just two lads just chatting shit, like, at the end of the day.
Pretty much.
We don't want people to take it to heart too much. We just want to bring different conversations that other people are not really talking about. And we don't really want to hurt anyone's feelings. We're not out there to, because I know this is such a sticky subject. So, we just want to put that forth to you, that we're just fucking two apes, fucking
Having a chat.
This
is it. And I think maybe at the beginning of this, we tried to go in with a different level of, maybe call it professionalism. But I feel that doing it in a more relaxed way and just kind of getting that point across to begin with helps us flow a lot better, as if we're talking as though these microphones aren't here. So yeah.
At the end of the day, I just want to talk, like, I just want to have a normal conversation with me and my mate. And if anyone does get offended, I'm sorry, but I don't really give a fuck, innit? Like,
listen to something else.
Yeah. Just go somewhere else, innit? Like
it's a good way to start.
Right. But that's the point I'm getting at. This is the open-minded podcast. Do you know what I mean? This is what it's all about. If you're not about being open-minded and being open to having these certain conversations, then this probably isn't the place for you. You get me?
Yeah. So we'll start with Christmas then, shall we?
Yeah, let's start with Christmas, because I've been feeling Christmas recently.
What does Christmas mean to you?
Christmas means spending time with my family. When I think of Christmas, I think of that one day. I don't think, like, this whole hype around. It annoys me. Like, the earliest you start hearing about it is like end of October and shit, like Christmas.
Once Halloween's gone,
and I'm just like,
get your Christmas trees up.
Fucking hell, like, fuck all that shit off. I don't care about that. It just does my head in. And I don't see the big, oh yeah, like, there's all this hype up to it, and it's just like, get your presents and then fucking go around your family house and have a nice time. And that for me is having that nice food.
I just thought of something really funny. I saw this video, and it was a kid saying, "Hey Alexa, can reindeers fly?" And it's like, "No, reindeers can't fly." And the dad just shoots up. He's like, "No, she's lying. She's lying."
Yeah. It's that. So when I was younger, we would all go to my grandma's on Boxing Day, and we'd all go to my nan's on Christmas Day. Mm-hmm. And we'd have the roast dinner on the Christmas Day, and on the Boxing Day we'd have the Trinidadian food from my grandma. And it would be a family event, and everyone from the family would come round. Yeah. Each side of the family would go to whatever, my mum's side, and then we'd go to my dad's side, and we'd see everyone, and everything was amazing. Never any. The arguments are just. They're not. I never really came across any arguments. It was just, petty shit about politics and stuff. But obviously that changed over the years for me, and then, obviously my grandma died in 2010, and then obviously it was just my nans that we went round. So it kind of changed from there. My dad was always quite unhappy on Christmas, so
Because he was used to
used to
being with his mum
and also he wasn't with my mum as well, so he couldn't go to my nan's, obviously.
yeah.
So I'd deal with that. Because he obviously just wasn't happy, and that would make me feel a bit like,
Yeah,
it'd make me feel
feel it.
shit, because
Yeah.
I would be going to my mum's and he would be there alone, or he would go somewhere else. But it wasn't the same for him, so I knew he was feeling it.
Yeah, sure.
And I know he still feels it now. Um, and but yeah, my nan's was always like fucking amazing, and it was my auntie would come around, and it was always nice and lovely, and my nan just made it special. Um, and then obviously my nan passed away, and then now I'm left with this. Things aren't the same as they used to be, and when it gets to this time of year, don't really know why I feel a bit shit, but and then it dawns on me, oh yeah, this is why, because I miss my fucking family. So that's what Christmas means to me, is um it's I need to change that in my head of they're just good memories now. It's never going to be the same again, but I need to appreciate the family that I do have now. But it's just the fact that it's not the same. It's not the same. So yeah, this year's going to be a lot different. Not as many people about. But I've just you've really just got to be grateful for what you do have.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's like my thing of Christmas. I don't like I like the giving present side. It's just when you're not in a great financial position, it makes you feel like shit, because you can't do the things for your family that you really want to do, or you really want to pay for, or especially like leaving certain family members out because you can't afford it. Um, Shit like that is kind of like, and they get you a present and you feel shit. So there's not sometimes there's negative things to come with Christmas as well, where it doesn't always make you feel great. It makes you feel a bit shit about your situation that you're in. I think a lot of people can sort of relate to that, because it kind of really does just show you what position you're in. Because if you can't afford to do that for your family or whatever, you kind of think, fuck, like.
Well, I mean, it puts a spotlight on it.
Mm.
So it can highlight certain things, like, for example, not being able to afford, presents for certain family members, or, for example, you're busy, you're working on Christmas, and, that, going to work any other day feels normal, but the idea that you should be somewhere else just exacerbates any tension that you might feel about that, and makes you feel, maybe down because you can't spend that time with your family and you're working instead, for example.
Mm. Yeah, there's so many different aspects when it comes to Christmas. But you do really have to think about, there's just people who are going without. There's people who are fucking sleeping on the streets for Christmas, and people who don't have any family, who are just sat having a fucking roast dinner by themselves. And so that's when the gratitude needs to come in. But on the other hand, there is that feeling of um things are not going to be the same as they used to. You had it and now you've lost it. That's like a big thing for me. Having something and losing it. it's it's upsetting, but the lessons that you learn from that are just like, they're massive for me. They're the things that I'm really grateful for.
What are the lessons?
Having things and losing them, and realizing you need to be so grateful for that
Grateful at the time, yeah.
And it makes you realize how short life is, and how things can just go you can lose anything at any moment. Those people that you love, they can go at any time. So you literally have to tell them that you love them every day. You need to tell you how you feel about them every day. This isn't a fucking one time a year thing. It's like you really have to
do that all the time.
All the time.
Yeah.
And even in fucking after a shitty argument or something, you need to tell them that you love them. Like, yeah, you can like it's fine. All families have arguments and stuff, but you need to come away from that situation and just say, look, I love you, and just put that all that behind you, and just say I love you, but I don't agree with you. I don't agree with this what
And
you've done.
Christmas is like a time for you that it highlights appreciating your family and things like that.
Mm.
For me, it's like I've probably got different.
Yeah, see, we've both got very different
We've got different backgrounds though,
different backgrounds. Yeah.
so our experience of it is bound to be different. Um, when I talk about it, I don't like want to come across as the Grinch or like Scrooge, that type of thing.
Yeah, but I don't. I'm not like that. I don't have a fucking Christmas tree or anything. I feel like the Grinch as well.
No, but the thing is, Christmas has a lot of ritualistic type things around it, and I never got with that program. When I was younger, I used to enjoy going for the meal. It was nice to be able to ask for a present and actually get it. Yeah. But I'll tell you a funny story actually. I got two good stories around Christmas actually. When I was about 8, my dad went to jail. I don't know what for. I can't really even remember for how long. Maybe a year and a half. And our mum told us that he'd gone to work on aeroplanes in Germany, right? And he was like probably an hour up the road in a cell for a
Mm.
year and a half or whatever. And it came to Christmas and he rang me and he said, "Yeah, son, I'm going to be working over Christmas. Um, but I've got someone very special with me and he's gonna talk to you on the phone and he's gonna just tell him what you want and we'll make sure that it's there under the tree on Christmas." He's like, "I'm just passing you over to Father Christmas." Passed me over to his cellmate. Right? I'm like, "Yeah, I want a mountain bike." He's like, "Yeah, no worries. As long as you've been a good boy, we'll make sure that happens," and blah blah blah. Christmas Day comes, had the mountain bike.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like that's one of my early memories of Christmas. And another time we had a really good Christmas when I was probably 9 or 10 and we went to Lapland and it was basically it was like every Friday after school our nan would pick me and my brother up and we would have dinner at hers and afterwards she'd always give us like a penguin like chocolate bar and a Capri Sun. And I remember it was like coming up to Christmas and these Capri Suns had win a trip to Lapland on them. And I was like, "What's Lapland?" And then, "Oh, that's where Father Christmas lives and this and that." I was like, "I want to go there for Christmas, right?" And I told my dad, didn't say he didn't they didn't say my mum and dad didn't say anything about this or give looking back on it now there were hints, right? And we kept going to this like outdoor shop in Port Solent and getting like winter clothes, but they just made out like we were just getting winter clothes.
Yeah, normal winter clothes.
Jacket, like hats, gloves, thermals, and then a few days before Christmas, we went to London. We were in a hotel, and my dad just like gave us the plane tickets. It was like, "We're going to Lapland tomorrow."
Mm.
I was like, "Oh shit!"
Gassed.
Like so excited, yeah. And this trip in Lapland it was nuts, mate. It was dark, like the whole time we were there. So it's like winter. It's like northern hemisphere. It's there's like a bit of sunlight for like 2 or 3 hours a day. Every tree is a Christmas tree. Like they're all evergreen trees. It's quite weird to see that there's not really any other trees. It's like so sparsely populated. There's no one around. Between villages, there's just nothing. And then we got to this massive ski resort, and there was like fucking sleds, skis, snowboards, jumps, like trails. We had like this little chalet thing, and
Yeah.
then like outside, the snow was like 6 foot deep.
How could you see if it was dark all the time?
mate, it was dark like most of the day, like as in nighttime. That's what it was like. And then for a few hours in the day, like midday, it would be kind of like what it's like here early in the morning
Yeah.
before the sun rises, and it's kind of grey.
Mm.
And yeah, like there you'd get up at like 5 a.m. and then the whole holiday was like geared around this Santa Claus hunt. So we spent a week searching for Santa basically. So we'd go out and you'd go on reindeer, sled, then a husky sled, and then we went on like skidoos, those like jet skis for snow. Sick week, right? You can imagine like being a kid doing that, like driving a jet ski basically across a frozen lake was sick. And basically that year we wanted these Nokia slide up phones. And we went, so you eventually find Santa, you go to the Santa's grotto on a reindeer sled. You turn up, there's like this little thing in the middle of nowhere, this little Santa's grotto, and it's all made out like this guy's Santa, and there's like fucking elves walking around, and there's like, they're like packing presents, and it made it look really good. As a kid, you wouldn't know any different. And then, you know, you're on Santa's knee, and he's like, "What do you want?" It's like, "I want this phone," and he just whips it out. He's like, "Open that," and it was the phone that I'd asked for. So obviously, your
Oh,
parents like sort out the present,
and then they
and
give
then
it to
they
you.
give it to
Yeah,
you. So
yeah.
it's a nice experience. It's obviously like,
You're like, whoa.
I was like, "Whoa!" I actually lost that phone on my 10th birthday as well, which was not nice.
Mm.
But anyway, that Christmas was just sick because we made good friends there. You know, it was like nice food every day. You were like on an adventure as well. Spent New Year's Eve there, skiing, playing in the snow. It was like good family time, and then we came back and we got a Nintendo Wii for Christmas and a TV. So you know that was like
That sounds like a lovely Christmas.
insane Christmas for like an 8 or 9 year old. You know what I mean? And I just remember every Christmas after that being a bit shit. They were a bit shit because I just remember everyone just getting drunk. Everyone would just get steaming. And then I didn't like all the rules. I felt like when we were on that holiday, there was no rules. It was just we're doing this, we're doing that. But on Christmas for a kid, it's like you just want to open presents, have some food, and play with your toys.
Mm.
But there's this whole no, we've got to do this, we've got to do this, we've got to do that, and then we're gonna have some food, and then you can open some presents, and this and that, and there's like this whole
Routine.
this routine, and I just never got with that program, never like that. And then as I got a bit older, that it, I don't know. I don't know if I was maybe a bit awkward in them kind of situations, doing things that seemed weird. Like I told you about it earlier, I threw a present because the lounge was really crowded. So I was like, he's basically my uncle, threw him this, I got him like a t-shirt and I threw it across the room, only like a couple of meters. But then later on in the day, people were kind of, it came
Talking
up in
about you.
conversation that, oh, Isaac shouldn't have thrown that across the room. It was a bit rude that he did that to Darren. And it's like, what are you talking about? You know, so I don't know, I felt a bit weird because of that. But mainly, uh, Christmas just kind of looked like this thing about consumerism and overindulgence, and it it was never really about family. Like my family didn't even really seem to like each other that much. They just met up, spent money on each other, and overindulged in food and alcohol. So I had a few good experiences with it, but then it just kind of seemed like, why are we still doing this? You guys don't even really seem to like each other that much.
Mm.
So I had a bit of a different family experience to you. And it was only really something I looked forward to just because it was time off school and you could get presents,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah, it's a strange thing for kids, I think. It is just it's like a special time, a magical time, and there's just a certain point where it just turns off, and it's like, hmm, what the fuck even is this?
And this is kind of what the main part of what we're going to get into is that
You feel
going from the point that you said about that it it brings up feelings of for you being grateful for your family and good memories and things like that, and that should be a feeling we have all the time. It makes me wonder a bit, why do we emphasize sharing, for example? Because for me that's what fundamentally it is all about, and I'll get into that bit as well. But the sharing aspect is basically the main component of it that is a good thing, in my opinion. And obviously, there's family and seeing people and reconnecting with people is good. A lot of people, they'll travel to see their family for Christmas, and it's kind of everything's bundled into one day, and I think we shouldn't overhype that. It should be kind of seen for what it is, and the thing about like people covering their house in decorations and putting like extravagant trees up and doing this, that, and the other and spending loads of money. It's just a bit unnecessary. Last year I couldn't go to where I was going because someone could have had COVID, you know. It was one of those things. So I spent it with everyone who was in a similar situation, couldn't go home because of this or that, to do with that situation. And we all chipped in for a meal, cooked it together, and had food with my friends. And that was one of the nicest Christmases. There was no, I've bought you this, you haven't got me that, why didn't you get me anything, blah, blah, blah. No one felt bad for not getting anyone anything because no one got anyone for anyone. No one got anything for anyone, sorry. And we just had food together. So that was nice.
There was something I wanted to add there. The bit about like sharing. I can't actually fucking remember.
Well, you were saying earlier that it reminds you of the things that you want to do for your family. Like you want to get your mum a nice present for her house, or you want to get your brother something nice. You were saying that it.
Yeah, I just don't. Yeah, that's it. Like the whole lead up to it and everything is a bit. As soon as I stopped, it's the. That's it. It's the change of when when you're a kid and you just want. It's that change from that to I want to give.
Yeah, yeah.
And the wanting part is the bit that makes you feel shit. And once you realise that, you completely just have to shut yourself up from the wanting. It's now people say, "Oh, what do you want for Christmas?" And it's like, I don't need anything from anyone. I I only say things because I know it's going to make them feel better. And also, it is lovely. It's obviously lovely to receive gifts, and it's nice to have things that. But I don't put any emphasis on it. I get what I get, and that's it. And I concentrate on the things that I can give, and the time with my family. And I don't overhype it, and I end up having a way better time than, oh, I want to get this. I hope someone gets me this. Like that's what you like as a kid. Oh, that would make me feel shit when I would get so much stuff as a kid, right? And I'd end up feeling shit at the end of the day because there was one thing that I didn't get that I asked for. And it's like, what fuck? That's just like.
I think one of the points that we were kind of discussing before was about, how do we word it? That it's kind of, what does it do for kids? What does it get them used to? And to get kids feeling like that, what's the fuck is that about? Like, why are we doing something which is kind of getting kids used to just asking without giving anything? And as well, like, I don't think we, like, You said, do we need to keep up this lie about Santa Claus to kids?
I had this thought a little
What
while
is that
ago.
about?
I thought so. It was, I can't remember what it was, but it was something to do with like telling lies to kids and what sort of thing does that do to a child's brain, telling them lies. Because I think about all the lies that I've been told in my life, and I think, what, that was just to like make me feel better at the time, but then it gives me a false fucking image of what the world is, and it's like, if like I seriously believe that a fucking man on a sledge was being carried by some fucking reindeer. Like, I genuinely believe that. Like,
It's a big lie.
it's a big lie, and
Why are we convincing people that is the case?
And then that fucks your head up, because I think that's like a big thing with thinking that something's under your bed. Like, there's this fucking monster that lives under your bed, and I think I don't know if I probably did, but you kind of get scared when you're in your, oh, there could be. And I think the fact that if you can think that fucking some bloke with a big beard is like flying around, you're probably gonna think that there's a fucking monster under your bed. Do you know what I mean?
I mean, the things that you actually do for Christmas are pretty weird. Like, you bring a tree inside your house and then put lights on it.
Yeah.
And then you like
Put a little inked star on top.
but you leave like food at the bottom of the chimney and that. Like, what the fuck?
Carrots and
what
the
the
fucking...
fuck is going on there?
And you wake up in the morning, the beer's drunk, your old man's like, oh.
What is that about? I mean, it was exciting and it was good.
But like, yeah, it was amazing. It's not the fact that I didn't enjoy the stuff. It's just like, what are the negative?
But I think one negative thing for me was when Santa wasn't real, Christmas was a bit shit.
Yeah.
It wasn't so exciting.
Yeah.
And like, why?
And then I'm being also of my whole life I've been appreciated to someone who never gave me anything.
It's quite weird that we would do that, and like, parents are buying things for their children and then telling them that someone else got it for them.
It's a bit.
It's
strange,
kind of a bit weird. Like, why don't we just say this day is about appreciating your family and sharing things with one another? Not everyone can afford something expensive to give the people that they love, so do a kind gesture. Make something for your mum, or say, I'm gonna make this cake for you, or I'm gonna do something nice for you. Like,
yeah.
That's what I was doing a couple Christmases ago. I made cakes and I made brownies and fudge for all my friends' mums, and put them in, like, I went and got like of people that had done things for me, or people that had been nice to me, like people that let me stay at their house for whatever reason. And like, I wrote them a note, and I went fully out of my way. I made all this fudge, all this brownies, and I like wrapped them in like this brown craft paper, put the string on it with a bow. I got like these boxes that were kind of like Happy Meal boxes from Hobbycraft or something. And then the fucking cake and the fudge came in that with a note inside it, and you know what I mean? That didn't cost that much, but everyone loved it.
That meant a lot to them.
And everyone really liked that. Yeah. I could have gone out and spent whatever on anyone.
And they would have been like, oh, yes, Sam, thank you. But that actually meant something.
I spent hours doing that, and I went round and gave them to people, and I did it over a couple of days, and it was nice. And that was actually a pretty big turning point for me, for when I realised that I liked sharing stuff. And I liked giving things away. And yeah, I think it should just be more about sharing, and you know, kind of, if I was, I think people kind of know that I'm friends with, that they're probably not going to get anything bought for them by me for Christmas, because I'm the kind of person that would probably put something in the bin that someone buys for me, because I don't need anyone shit. I'd rather you be like, I've made you a cake, or I've got this piece of art for you to put on the wall, or I've done a photograph and I got it framed for you, or there's this picture of me and you and I got it framed for us. Like, you can keep it. All right, sick. But I don't know if she's gonna listen to this, but I'll say it anyway. But someone bought me this bottle to put fruit in. And I was like, at the time I felt really bad for not getting her anything, because I didn't really expect I didn't expect anything.
She probably didn't even think. She probably didn't think that you were gonna get her anything. She just wanted to do something nice.
Wow. I mean, I put that and the card straight in the bin the second I got in the door.
I think we've all done that though. That like, I don't like being a hoarder. Like, I see my granddad, he's a hoarder. I don't, anything that I see that I don't use, I just chuck it straight in the fucking
I was
bin.
never going to use this thing. I
It's
didn't
just-
know anyone else who would have. Like,
Yeah.
if it was something that I thought someone else could have used, I would have probably.
I mean, my mum's
it's
listening
not.
to this
It's
right
not
now.
nice. It's not nice.
Nah, it's not.
And it, like, I did feel a little bit kind of down about doing that, but that's just what I did, and that was it.
But if you're never gonna use it, that's just the same as putting it in the bin.
Yeah,
just
but
hold it.
maybe I could have found someone who could have got
Yeah.
this from it.
Some use for it.
But
I think, but my mum bought me one, I think once, and I used it
I
once
ju-
and then never used it again.
I just think that. Well, I mean, from my perspective, her spending that money was just a waste. There was no point. There was.
She could have just got you a nice card and put some nice words in it.
There wouldn't have been this whole ordeal. She didn't even need to get me a card. Nothing. Just get. Don't get me anything. Like, it's probably better. I don't. Because I'm just not with this whole.
Obviously, it was a lovely thing to do, and it's the thought that counts in it.
It's the thought that counts, yeah. I mean, I can't justify just putting shit in the bin that someone buys you, because maybe I'm just a bit different in that sense. And
I do get it though.
but I'm the same with cards. You know, when people have got like 12 of them across the mantelpiece, what are you saving them for?
No.
Yeah,
I
just put them in the bin. Like, I remember
get
my
that.
dad pulled open this box of all these fucking Christmas cards, and I was like, "How fucking long have you had these?"
Nah, I keep
I
mine. I keep mine because
I-
I've got nice ones from my nan.
Yeah, but I've not really ever had space for it. This is the first place I've lived where I've actually got space for that shit, and I don't want that space to be taken up. I mean, I don't know. I'm a bit maybe unreconciled about these are kind of opposing points that, like, I do like meaningful things, you know, like pictures or little trinkets and stuff, but at the same time, I don't really want to fill up my space with that type of thing. Just, I don't know how to word it in a nice way that is kind of well-rounded, but yeah, I'm just not with that bullshit.
Mm.
You know, let's meet up, have a meal, have a nice conversation, and I'll say see you later. This is the first Christmas where I'm going to be working, you know, I'm going to come have dinner with you and your family, and then I'm going to go and work.
Mm.
Yeah. But like, it's my business. I know it's going to be busy that day. And yeah, so I'm excited for it. But before I was going to have dinner with you, I was just going to invite some people around here who aren't going to see their family, and I was just going to cook food for like 5 or 6 people here. You know, that's like my idea of what Christmas is now. Just having food with some mates. No one needs to buy each other anything, so don't feel like you've done something wrong by not getting me anything, because I ain't got fuck all for you either.
Yeah.
Yeah, I might make a cake, and then, you know, that's what I brought to my brothers when I went there for Christmas, like year before last. Took a cake, and then everyone had some cake, and you know, that was a nice, thoughtful thing. Not that I could have afforded much else anyway, but still, you know, I think the consumerism, like, it's hyped up to get people to spend money.
Mm.
Let's be fucking realistic. It's
Yeah,
It's a marketing campaign, and it gets
think
people
about how much
spending a lot of
money.
money.
Yeah, think about how much fucking money
It
pumped.
generates
Yeah,
millions,
billions.
billions, mate. Yeah, you're right. The food, like,
Oh fuck me, the food.
think of how much money supermarkets are making at the end of the year.
Mm,
They love it.
mm.
And being in a business now where I know we're busy at that period of the year, this whole last month has been me preparing for Christmas and New Year's Eve because of how busy I know, and I'm looking forward to it because I know how much money we're gonna make.
Mm.
You know, so the businesses that are on a much bigger scale than our business are fucking loving it. So they want to keep this going as long as they can. Why would they ever stop? Why would they ever let this go?
Yeah, they would never let this go. Obviously, there's businesses as well at the moment. Obviously, uh, restaurants and shit. They're coming along and saying everyone's fucking cancelling their Christmas dues, and they're like struggling now.
Why are people cancelling?
Because of all this Omicron shit.
Right.
It's not the fucking government who's doing anything. Well, the government is obviously doing something, but what they're saying, and people don't want to look bad because they're doing stuff when this new variant's here. Bullshit. But
Right.
I thought I'd go on to I think it would be a nice little transition from what I want to say, my experience last year with
Right.
Christmas. Obviously, lockdown. Was it lockdown?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
It
lockdown.
was like limited
Oh
number
yeah,
of
yeah,
people
yeah.
and stuff.
So we couldn't do anything. But I actually had COVID the end of December, and then I literally. So it was like the 10 days was up on Christmas Day. So didn't really see I didn't see any of my family. It was just me and my missus at the time. Um, I was going for a shit time at that time anyway. I was just drinking and fucking doing drugs and shit. So I literally just fucking didn't get anyone presents apart from well, yeah, I think I got my mum or someone, mum, my dad, maybe my little brother and sister.
Yeah.
Um, and I went and my dad made us food. We went over there and picked it up. And I come home, we ate food together, and I just went into my room and sat on my fucking PC and I fucking drank for like 2 days after that. Drank all the way through Boxing Day, and then yeah, but that was like I think I have been thinking about that, and we did have a nice time. It was like it was just me and her, and it was like kind of like a special time. It was weird. Um, so thinking about that now is a bit strange because obviously we're not together. So, but I have been thinking about that a little bit. Of oh, we did have a night. We had a special time. We spent a fucking lot of time together. Obviously, we were in lockdown together or in isolation together because we both had COVID through that time. Um, but yeah, that was my little experience of the last lockdown. It wasn't all bad, but obviously I wasn't allowed to see my family.
Yeah. I think I said quite a few negative things about Christmas, right? So I think I'm just gonna like
Recap.
conclude my thing on this topic of why I kind of think that. And I just want to say that it's nice that people find something positive out of Christmas, and it's nice that people reconnect, and
Makes people feel happy and
it's
connected and
nice. But we don't need one fucking day just to do that. We should be doing this regularly. And I understand people have got different predicaments and, you know, completely different situations. Families are, you know, spread out across the world. So people aren't necessarily able to do this every weekend, you know. But I think there needs to be a bit less emphasis on expensive gifts and overindulgence, and it should be just more about togetherness and sharing. And if you haven't got a family, you should, you know, find friends that you can enjoy that day with, and in general, find friends that you can do this with on a regular basis. I don't think there's anything I like doing more than cooking food for other people. I won't even ask anyone to chip in for the money because I just fucking love doing it.
Yeah, I love cooking for people.
I would, I would go out and spend 40 quid on food, cook it all, and share it with however many people that feeds, and not even think anything about the money, ever. I just
Yeah.
expect someone else to wash it up. But yeah.
The last time I cooked was when you came around.
Mm.
I just love. I hate cooking for yourself. Shit, innit?
It's a lot of washing up.
Yeah.
I don't like doing all the washing up.
Yeah, that's the thing for me. I just like getting something in a tub and just
It
chucking
feels
it in
it
the bin
feels like
afterwards.
too extravagant to
Make it
just
all.
do for yourself. Like, I'm gonna go out, get all these specific ingredients. I'm gonna prepare it all. I'm gonna spend however long cooking it, plate it up, everything, just for me to have some food. Like, I can just eat fucking oats and a banana. Do you know what I mean?
I can just order a delivery,
Well,
which I've been doing.
but
Um,
you know, but yeah, that's I haven't really got much else to say about
no.
Christmas. Like, I'm looking forward to going around yours for a meal. It's nice.
I'm
Nice
looking
idea.
forward to seeing my family.
Yeah.
I do love Christmas. I just don't like the lead up to it. If you get what I mean.
Yeah, the hype of
The
it.
hype.
Get your trees and
Get
this and
this,
that.
get that, and drink fucking all the way through December.
Don't stop drinking through December
Yeah.
because I've got an alcohol delivery
Yeah.
business and it's doing very well on the
Drink up, drink up.
So yeah,
Plug it
drink is
on drop.
on drop.co.uk. So carry on drinking.
Deliveroo, Uber Eats.
So we're gonna be the only people that are fucking delivering
And what
alcohol on
time?
Christmas.
What time?
The times are gonna the times will vary, but we're basically opening later on all of these days. So for
What time
us,
are you starting from though?
we'll be open from like midday on all
Midday.
these days over Christmas, and then probably open till 6 a.m.
So if you need your alcohol,
You know where
Christmas
to go.
Day, and fucking most things are
Christmas
closed.
Day, Boxing Day, things are closed. There's a bank holiday Monday after Christmas. Things will be closed again. New Year's Eve, Christmas Eve, everywhere shuts early, so we're open as well. New Year's Eve, we're able to stay open till like 11 in the morning. So we're gonna kill it on New Year's Eve. The day after that, everything's closed.
And what's your
And
catchment area?
I don't think that's too important because people are listening to this all over the place.
Yeah, but I
It's
think some people are.
it's Southampton. We cover Southampton.
Southampton.
But yeah, should we go on to the big,
Yeah, let's
the
get on to
big
the big
L?
boy.
So
What's coming?
lockdown. I think a lot of people's experience of lockdown was a big L, but mine was the complete opposite.
Dub.
Mine was a fucking sick time. And this is the thing. I think this needs to be prefaced with I'm not going into what I think of COVID or its legitimacy or vaccines or any of that shit.
We can go into that another time.
We can fucking talk about that till the cows come home, right? This is about lockdown, our experience of it, what we did, and you know, it's not advice because people can do what they want, but what worked for us and how I'm looking at it moving forward. I think a lot of people were unprepared for the lockdowns that have happened in the last year. I think we've had 3 major lockdowns basically. It was unprecedented. You know, it's not completely unprecedented, but in our lifetimes we've never lived through something like that. It was completely new. And you know, it affected people fucking badly. A lot of people were badly affected by lockdown, whether that was through losing their job or through feeling isolated and all of this.
Not getting enough exercise, and
You know, it's a fucking
it's just a
multitude of factors that concluded a negative experience. The difference was how I dealt with it is I was just like, fuck that, I'm not listening to any of these rules. I'm not abiding by one of them. I'm not listening to any of it. I'm going to live my life as normal. And it basically gave me a little bit of a chance to catch up. Right? These negative things that people had from lockdown, I was experiencing that the whole time up until lockdown, of being isolated and not looking after myself properly and drinking too much and doing too many drugs and all of that. I'd been there and done that by the time that fucking lockdown started. Yeah, I was ready to get on with my life by that point. And I'm sorry, but some random fucking person on the TV telling me not to go outside my house more than once a day was not going to stop me. I went in and out of my fucking house 100 times every day for every single lockdown, like without fail. And the fucking curtain twitcher across the road from me, who was fucking looking through his blinds and then writing down how many times I'd been out of the house. Yeah, because I saw him doing it. He'd literally be there, like peeking through the blinds and writing down.
Fucking
and it's
grip,
like, mate,
bruv.
I never had a conversation with him, but he was at home for like a year. He never left the house. He was there all the time. He'd always be on his balcony. He'd always look at me, and he'd always be fucking writing notes when he'd see me. Like, he's the kind of guy that was taking pictures of people and reporting them for saying they've been out of the house too many times. And I'd just like to say as well that I never got ill. I never knew anyone that got ill. I've been in contact with people who were ill and didn't think anything of it. Everyone who said that they were ill, I offered to get them shopping, including you.
Yeah, you got me shopping.
Yeah, and I thought nothing of it. And when you came down in your mask, I was like, just fucking, what are you doing, mate? Right? And I don't believe for a second that my actions led to anyone getting ill. I see no evidence for it. And if you want to debate that point, then I'm open to it. But from my experience and from my perspective, I live my life as normal, and I met more people than I did. I made more friends, should I say, in that period of 2020 to 21 than I probably did in my whole life prior. I was fucking going to parties, house parties, literally every night. On one every night. And I had a sick time. And I made more money. I became more successful. I did more things of like trial and error in business. I explored more. You know, every time that I had nothing to do, I'd be like, right, I'd go to like Hengistbury Head or go to Durdle Door and just take my bike, go to Bournemouth or go to Winchester. I'd just go anywhere, like just to go out, and I would just be always out exploring, meeting people, doing things with different people. And I lived my life in the most normal way. People that had a negative experience in lockdown were doing abnormal things. That's why they had that experience, right? It is abnormal to stay indoors all the time and not meet people and not hug people and not do normal things. That is abnormal. Yeah. Wearing masks, wearing fucking gloves, like having sex with a mask on. Yeah. That is not normal. Right?
Hazmat suit with just a hole.
I lived my life in the most normal fucking way I ever had in my whole life, and I developed so much as a person. My business developed so much, like my happiness developed so much, my friendships developed so much, my life, my stability, everything was so good. And the one realization that I had, and it's still guiding my decisions today, is that this is not going away ever. And I say ever in the truest sense, it's never going away. This is always going to be a tool that's used by every government over the world to impose any changes they feel like. And that's the truth. And it's not about people's health. It's about bringing in changes that have been pre-planned for decades. Books that are 50 years old outlined this from various meetings from all over the world. Yeah. And again, I can provide that information, and I've got the books.
Biggest the lockdowns was the thing that generated the biggest fucking financial trade in history. Trade off in history.
Oh mate, the money that changed hands over lockdown was disgusting.
And
The rich became richer, the poor became poorer. It's the fucking age-old story. Right? But what I did is I set myself up for the reality. And I'm still doing it now. So this is quite a big bit of information that I'm going to go into. So the food business absolutely boomed during first lockdown. Shitty takeaways were making 25, 30k a month from Just Eat, Deliveroo and Uber Eats collectively. I'm talking the shittest of shit takeaways were making 20k a month. And good takeaways were doing 5 to 10 grand a day. Yeah.
fucking hell.
I'm not going to go into it, but you know who in fucking near where you live is a restaurant that you would never even imagine it, but they were making 5 to 10 grand a day.
Yeah.
Right? Hundreds and hundreds of orders a day.
Opposite me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? So the food business was a good business to get into, and I wanted to do a breakfast delivery. It was a bit problematic with the logistics, so what I ended up doing was a kitchen share with a Mexican takeaway to add burgers and milkshakes and garlic bread and stuff to their menu, or to a separate brand. And that business did £5,000 in the first month straight off the bat. I didn't work with it as closely after that, so it did go downhill. But I could have done that from my house. Yeah, with a tiny kitchen, you can get them approved by the council. And actually, there's something that which people don't know, because if they haven't gone through that process, is the council isn't even doing inspections, right? So you could probably get away with it in your home kitchen without them even knowing it was from a home address for probably a year. I registered that in, I think, April last year. They've still not come and looked at the kitchen. It still says awaiting inspection on the council's website. So even though that was a commercial kitchen, it didn't necessarily need to be. And there's nothing actually wrong with doing it from a home kitchen if it's clean. You know, you want to make sure that you are actually meeting the standards of the food hygiene regulations and stuff. So now, the next business which was kind of put across to me was alcohol delivery. And I liked it from the get-go just because
I think everyone who's ever thought of a business...
everyone who's ever thought of a business has come across alcohol delivery. Yeah. But there's so many, you know, it took us nearly 9 months to get the right, you know, paperwork in place to be signed off by the police and the council and trading standards and all that shit. And it's not actually that difficult, but it just takes time, and it takes time to understand their process and what you need to do to jump through the hoops that they need you to. But now, and like I will preface this with the fact that I think that alcohol should just be illegal. It's pretty disgusting that it's available so easily. But
I think all drugs should be legal.
People, there's a difference between the way I look at alcohol and drugs. Drugs are not as easily available as, for example, alcohol. Alcohol should be, when I say it should be illegal, I mean, what I really mean is that it should be more difficult to get. Based on, with 25 quid, you can go to a shop now and in half an hour kill someone and not even remember it. Yeah, that's how dangerous alcohol is. And I know that that's an extreme example, but that is reality, and you could do that. If I drank a bottle of tequila right now and I didn't just pass out, I would probably do something extremely regrettable. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%.
You know? So the thing the point I'm getting to is that people cannot just wait for lockdown to end. I shared something earlier that this idea of COVID ending is starting to sound like the DFS sale ending. It's never fucking going to end, mate. It's always going to be another sale. Like, you know what I mean? Right? So face the reality. Any business you start, any business you start needs to be COVID proof. Anything you do long term needs to be COVID proof. If your job isn't COVID proof, you're fucked, because this thing is coming back. Yeah? And I'm not saying you got to understand that I'm not coming at this from shitloads of people are going to die of COVID. I'm coming at this from the government is going to lock us down. They're going to use whatever they can to justify it, and I don't believe that it's in the best interest of people's health, because lockdowns are well known to be ineffective for slowing the spread of any infection, and they're also well known for creating poverty. They cause disruption in supply chain. There's estimates that more people will die of starvation due to disruption to supply chains than they will from the virus, which the fucking lockdown is supposed to protect us from. So it's counterintuitive.
Not to fucking mention the suicide rate.
The suicide rate, the increase in alcoholism. I think everyone became an alcoholic last year, myself included. So this is the thing. As much as I disagree with alcohol being as readily available as it is a business model which works in today's society, right? And it actually becomes way better in a situation like a lockdown, because first of all, the roads are quieter, you can get deliveries out quicker. People have probably lost jobs and they're looking for just basic work, so there's more supply of delivery drivers. And more people are at home because everything is illegal except getting drunk at home, which was basically the case last year. So, from my perspective, the way to deal with lockdown is just get on with your life. If you want to wear a fucking mask and wear gloves when you're having sex with your partner, go ahead. Right? Right? Do whatever you want. Do whatever makes you feel comfortable. But don't wait for the government to say, you're allowed to do this now, so you can go to the park twice today. Yeah? I'm going to live my fucking life no matter what anyone says. Yeah? And especially some prick on the TV coming out with complete nonsense, contradictory, like trivial demands.
The contradiction is just fucking...
Yeah. I'm just going to crack on with my life, mate.
Yeah. 110%. I feel exactly the same. I mean, this lockdown, last lockdown, I was in a bit of a different situation, but I'll go into mine from the beginning. I wasn't in the same position as I am now. I fucking have massively changed. I don't know if it's, obviously there was a lot of thinking that got done, but so I was going through, I'm a lorry driver. I got my lorry license in October 2019. And then I was an alcoholic. I was drinking Friday through to Sunday, and I would just do this. I wouldn't ever drink during the week. I would just drink on the Friday through to Sunday, and then that was how, because I thought, if I'm driving, I can't be doing that. Like, it's just, I can't be drinking in the evening, because I know what I'm like. If I start, I can't fucking stop. So I'll be drinking till fucking early hours in the morning. Then obviously going to work, I want to be a lorry driver. So I never did that. I never drunk fucking the day before. Got my lorry license. and then didn't get a job until January, end of January.
2021.
2020.
Oh, right.
Um, I worked up until obviously April, and then they were like fucking, yeah, all the shit happened. It was obviously you heard about the COVID and shit, and then it was like, oh yeah, we're locking everyone
April
down,
time was when it
all
started,
locked
the
down.
lockdown, yeah.
And I was like, I remember coming into work and just like, I just like sort of sat there, and they were like, what the fuck are you doing? I was like, I'm just like waiting to see what's happening. And they were like, well, fucking get to work. And I was like, all right. I thought there would be some sort of like, I don't know. I thought you'd have been like saying something. There was something that you needed me to do, like that was different or whatever. And they were like, just fucking get on with it. And I was like, all right, fucking got on like the day was normal, and it was just empty. The roads were just completely dead, and obviously I'm just still learning how to drive a lorry. I was out by myself at this point because obviously, you start off with someone for the first month or whatever, and I just had the roam of the fucking roads in this lorry, and I was just
roads.
able to fucking weave in and out and fucking get used to the lorry, and get used to like taking enough space, and I had a run, I think it was my first run. It was down to like Portsmouth, and then it would go down to Bognor Regis, and there was East Wittering as well. It's like a really nice beach down there. So I would take this journey, and it was fucking boiling, wasn't it? Like that summer was the nicest summer ever. And I remember that was like, I think about the times now, I think, I just loved driving then. It was just beautiful. I love that run. I love the fact that it was like down like country roads, but you know, the country roads out in the sticks is not the same as the country roads by the sea.
Did you get that tanned right arm?
Bruv, every time. And obviously I tan beautifully in it, so it's like I've got this one
olived off arm.
And then I've got this white, well, not white, but fucking it looked white compared to the other one, but I go like a gorgeous like caramel brown.
Lovely.
So yeah, I had that on the right arm, but I would stop off and I would get lunch and have it by the sea and shit, and it was just lovely. Like that was like the best times of driving, and then things. Obviously it went on for ages, but in this time I was coming. I would work all week. It didn't really affect me because I didn't really give a shit about seeing anyone. All I cared about was coming home, fucking see my dad, see my family and shit. I would still see my mum. I think. But I would, get home, see my girlfriend or whatever, because she was living with me and my dad at the time, and then Friday it would be get home, get some food, get fucking about six. I would get like three bottles of rosé. I went through different times of drinking different shit. One part was rosé, then it was like fucking gin, and I would get like 2 bottles of gin or something, and I'd get fucking 3 bottles of rosé. But I would go the most bottles of rosé that I done was 9 bottles over the space of 2 days.
Oh mate, I had a weekend where I went. I know Echo Falls is a bit like less strong, right? But I was obviously sharing it out. But I went through 17 bottles of Echo Falls rosé on one night.
They would make me fucking feel sick. Like the acid that they bring up, I'd have to have like the proper rosé in it. They were like 12.5% or something like that. So was it 12?
What, the Echo Falls?
Nah, the ones that I was drinking.
Oh, right.
They were a bit more on the 11% or whatever. But yeah, I would just drink. Oh, that was the only thing I gave a shit about. That was my little happy place. And obviously my missus, she was like, come to bed. I'll be like, fuck off. But
I'm drinking.
I ain't drinking, bitch. This is the only time I get to spend by myself.
Can we just take a 2-minute break?
Yeah, of course we can.
All right, cool. We'll come back in a sec.
So yeah, I moved into my own place, got all my shit in there and stuff, and obviously at the time I was still drinking, And that it was the best thing I ever done though, moving out from my dad's, because it gave me reason. It gave me time to think. It gave me um my own place, my own if I fucking didn't go to work, I couldn't pay my rent. So it was amazing for me. And in this time,
So was it lockdown when you moved into that flat?
yeah, it was just after lockdown.
Right.
No, so there was like a period where it was kind of like iffy.
Yeah,
We were
yeah.
just like sort of coming back. That's when I moved with my mum, and then I got the place. But it was fucking sick how I got it. To be fair, like there was a few other people who tried as well. But there was two other people who, it was just like the first three who asked, they got a viewing. I obviously got it. And yeah, I'd have people around, get a steam in. Just the normal me, just by myself. Ended up having arguments with my bird because she would be like, "What the fuck?" and she'd just go home, and I'd be like, "That was what I wanted her to go home." Most of the time, sometimes I'd want her to be there, but sometimes I wouldn't because I know what I got like. And I ended up just going on. Well, I'd always been on the sort of spiritual journey from a while back, 2017, something like that, when I'd spending a lot of time alone. And I really did want to change. And that really kicked me up the arse to make that change. So it was a slow, gradual process of finding different things that I like to do, getting out, obviously linking up with you. That was so that it all started changing at the beginning of 2021. So I had that shitty experience. I had that I got COVID. We sat in, I had Christmas, and then there was like a change in everything. Did we? Well, we went in that small lockdown. It lasted. Actually, no, it lasted for a
I
while.
stopped fucking paying attention, to be
Yeah,
honest. I don't know.
it's kind of the lines are thin because I didn't really give a shit. But um, yeah, I just went on a fucking path of just wanting to better myself. I just every day like I
Yes.
want to better myself. I want to better myself. All these small things. Like Jordan Peterson says, fucking sort yourself, make your bed in the morning. And I was
Yeah.
doing all that sort of stuff. And then made the decision to go sober. And it was a slow process of doing a few. I've already spoke about this before, but yeah. But yeah, my experience with lockdown wasn't. I mean, obviously it was shit because I couldn't see my family, but it didn't affect me that much. I genuinely probably benefited from it more because I wasn't going out, I wasn't doing all this other shit. I was able to concentrate on myself. And yeah, it really didn't really affect me that much because I was going through that anyway. I didn't want to fucking leave the house. I didn't want to do it. Yeah.
So it tied in. It kind of tied in at the right time, and it didn't have a negative effect on you
And
because
also,
you were out every day working.
That's what
so
I mean.
you were out and about in the sunshine. You were seeing different things.
Yeah, I'm grateful for my
You
job.
were developing yourself. So, you weren't in a position where you were like working at home from Zoom call, like drinking with other people on Zoom and shit. Fucking hell. When I saw people doing that, I felt a bit left out because I was like, how come you've got all these people that are fucking ringing you on Zoom? And I thought, hang on, I can just get in my car and go wherever the fuck I want and see whoever I want anyway. So, like,
what does it matter?
Yeah.
And then now coming up to this next lockdown, we're gonna be getting fucking busy.
Baby, I'm gonna be busy, bro.
And my whole like I did wear masks. I'll go into what my thought process was. with the whole situation. First of all, I was very like, oh shit, like this looks like it could be fucking the real deal. I thought it was bollocks to start off with. I thought, oh, it's just another fucking one of them things. But then I was like, oh shit. And then a lot of things just weren't making sense. And I was just like, this just doesn't make any fucking sense. But obviously I knew people were like getting COVID and shit, and it was whatever. I was listening to certain people, and they were saying, well, they got COVID, so and they said it was fucking horrible and shit, and like close to death or whatever. But and I kind of like, all right, well, I need to treat it somewhat seriously. I need to try and do whatever it is that I think's the best to do, and that's all you can do is what you do. You do what you think is the best. And I thought, all right, I'll wear masks. I'll wear masks in public places. But the mask thing was quite cool for me because I thought, oh, like Trapstar, they made a fucking mask, so I just bought that, and I was like, yeah, fucking. I started wearing masks before it was even like before they even made it mandatory because I just thought, oh, it's cool, innit? But obviously, I don't wear a mask now. I don't intend to ever wear. I won't. I will not wear a mask ever again.
Mm.
I will. Always hug my family. I will not. I will always see my family if they want me to see them.
Mate. You remember when there was that whole period of like, do I shake hands or do I tap my elbow against yours?
Yeah.
Do I hug you? I remember people being like, "Can I hug you?" And I'm like, "Yes." Come on.
Yeah.
Like
that, but obviously I want to be respectful for other people. So if anyone doesn't want to be hugged, obviously I won't hug them. And I'm not gonna get pissed off with anyone who feels like that because people have been under indoctrination and everyone is.
I went fucking mental at everyone who tried to fucking. I remember I was with my mate Lewis. We're going to see Josh, his brother, and I drove all the way to Bournemouth, and he was all like, "Oh, I don't know if you can come into the flat." So what are you talking about? I've just driven to fucking Bournemouth. It's like 45-minute drive. I'm coming in your flat, mate.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, but you can't because of COVID. I was like, mate, listen, yeah. So me and you are going to fucking fall out. Right?
I mean, logical things like that is just fucking, yeah. Like, you drove all
it's
the way.
just like,
why
mate,
would you even fucking invite
I was
me
like,
down?
mate, you've invited me round here,
Mm.
and now you're saying, oh, I can't come in.
Mm.
I was like, I'm going to be really pissed off if I can't come in your flat now.
Mm.
And I mean, yeah, no one died. So, fucking, it wasn't, wasn't whatever. But the thing I would say about this is if you get all of your information from the government and the news, you will be scared.
If you watch the news all the time.
If you watch the news all the time, you'll be fucking scared.
See, it's there's a difference between my mum and my dad because my dad has the fucking news on all the time and he's very much like COVID this, COVID that. But obviously I've had arguments with him and he's like, fucking whatever. But to be fair, my mum doesn't listen to the news. She doesn't watch any of the news, but she does still have the same kind of opinion, and she does disagree with me on a lot of stuff as well. So, yeah, but then she does get her information from whatever. But yeah, but yeah, what I'm getting at is that I will not be doing any of that shit, and I will be doing whatever the fuck I want to do.
Yep.
And I do also want to go to a fucking protest as well because
go to a protest, yeah, mate. There's been loads of protests, not mentioned fuck all in the news about it. But I was gonna say the only time I've ever worn a mask was when I thought that I had to, and if it was, for example, it was to see a private doctor for an insurance claim. And I didn't want to have anything there that was like against me, like a detrimental factor. Yeah. So I just went in, wore the mask, because like this guy could be signing off and I'm getting some money.
Yeah.
So like, you got some money for me, I might wear it.
Yeah. I'm getting paid to wear a mask, so fuck it.
But if you ain't got any money for me, it's not happening, mate. And then, I mean, we saw some fucking insane ideas that, I mean, you've got people wearing a mask on their own in a car.
Three masks.
You've got people wearing 2 masks, 3 masks. You've got shops where I remember going into Waitrose and they were like, "Oh, you need a mask," and I said, "Oh, I'm exempt," and they were like, "No, this is private property. We're not following government guidelines. This is our own guidelines." It's like, hang on a minute. Well, it's not a fucking school uniform, mate. You can't impose a dress code. Well, they can actually, but they can impose a dress code for shops. And a club tried saying that to me once, and I was just like, mate, what are you going on about? Dress code, and a mask being part of the dress code. I said, I'm dressed fucking to the dress code. You can't just make up a new rule on the spot. Like they were just, but the thing is, you can't blame these businesses that much because businesses were put under a lot of pressure to close, and businesses were willing to do anything to stay open
and get that.
So that's how this was actually brought into real life. When it was on the news and it was people are dropping dead in the streets in China, right? Which we never saw here anyway.
Literally, people...
supposedly from the same fucking thing. Didn't get any of that. We still had the only thing that made it real, and this was the second I knew it was bullshit, was when I went to the swimming pool, and they were literally closing the door, putting a sign on it saying closed due to government regulations. And this was the first lockdown, and I was like, hang on a minute. So someone I've never met, never agreed to on any point, has said something to someone else without my approval, and that conversation has made an impact on my life to the extent where I can't do something as basic as going to the swimming pool. And I was like, that has never happened in my life ever. And that was what provoked me to look into it a lot more. And I thought, hang on a minute, how can they, like, there's been changes in laws that have changed things, but not to the extent of you're only allowed out of your house once a day and you're not allowed to go here unless you do this, or you're never allowed to go here, or you're only allowed to go so far from your house and all this shit. And the more and more I looked into it, the more fucking holes there are in this story. And I feel genuinely sorry for anyone who had to go through a negative experience because of lockdown last year. And you know,
yeah, it's two different sides of the story, because it's people think you're a dick for thinking that way, but we're in the wrong. But I feel sorry for people who had to go through that experience, and actually believe the shit. And I feel like I'm not doing anything bad, but you think that I'm doing something bad, but I actually think that you're doing a negative thing towards this. So it's like these two different things of who's right and wrong. But the difference is that I understand why you feel that way.
Yeah.
Because you've been going through an indoctrination your whole life. Like we talked about school in our last episode. This is all to do with that. It's all to do with the do make sure you got your shirt and tie.
It's the nanny state. It's, oh, by the way, you're not allowed to do anything now, and just put your whole life on pause until we tell you can get going again. It's like, hang on a minute, what the fuck are you talking about? Who the fuck? Well, the way I looked at it, I was like, who the fuck do you think you're talking to? Yeah, going on like, you can tell me what I can fucking do and what I can't, yeah? Try and stop me. Yeah? And they can stop you. They can. They haven't managed to yet. Right? And the one thing I would say is that if my business is allowed to stay open over this lockdown and there isn't some specific rule against my type of business, I will jump through hoops to make it stay open, but I will do the fucking bare minimum. I won't try and appease customers and be like, by the way, we're doing this and we're doing that to keep you... Nah. I'm not going to go into all that shit. That shit does help you sell more, right? 100%.
But I think this could go a whole different way. I think you might sell more doing, like, actually speaking out and saying we're not fucking doing none of that. I think a lot of people will be like, yeah, I'm with you on that. I'm going to that place because
You
he
don't want to
doesn't.
come from this audacious kind of angle. Like it's not. It's maybe not good for me to say all my personal opinions and then specifically talk about my business, right? So you do need to kind of back that up and say, you know,
Business will
I'll wear a
business.
mask if you're paying me, yeah, but I need a few grand for it, yeah. I'm not wearing a mask for no tenors, mate.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, if it's an insurance claim and I'm looking at 15 grand, mate, I'll consider it, right? But I am seriously against it for fucking a million reasons. Right?
The thing for me as well is, it's like logic has just gone out the window. It's like, okay, we can't use logic no more. Logic,
No, it doesn't work.
even in conversations with family members, logic goes out of the window, and it's like a veil has been brought over their fucking heads of, you can't, even if something is blind in your face, they will just disagree with you to the hills.
They can never agree with you, ever.
It's whatever.
And they will never see that what they're saying is absolutely ridiculous. I can tell that what I've done in the last few years has seriously helped me and people around me, right? I'm not doing anything negative to fucking anyone in that sense. So why are you trying to make out that I am? It's because you want me to fucking comply with what you're telling me to do, and I'm not going to. Yeah, I'm just not going to. And they can't stop alcohol businesses because it's in their own fucking literature that COVID can't be transmitted on packaging. So food businesses were the only thing that was allowed. It was literally the only business other than supermarkets that were allowed to stay open. And they even banned click and collect alcohol because people were like collecting it from somewhere and then congregating in certain areas. So it had to be home delivery, which is perfect. That's what we specialize in, home delivery of alcohol. Yeah. No one needs a mask. The driver comes up to your door, he leaves it on the doorstep and walks off. If he needs to see your ID, show it to him or send us a picture before and everyone's happy. So I can't see, even if I am against COVID rules, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
I'm not fucking spitting on the packaging, am I? Do you know what I mean? I want the customers to come back and spend more. Right? So I'm going to give it to them in nice packaging. It's clean. It's quick. It's, all of those things. So...
yeah, I don't see you having any...
I don't think we'll have any problems. And to be quite honest, I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to it because while everyone is fucking sat around doing nothing, getting drunk with people on Zoom, I'll be supplying the alcohol and I'll be progressing my life. Yeah? And if you don't do the same, I feel very sorry for you.
Just get on with it, people.
Just get on with your fucking life. The government is never going to help you. Never ever going to help you. They're just going to put hurdles in your way. And unless you just ignore them, you'll be jumping over them forever. Just ignore them and get on with your fucking life. Simple as that. And I've done that and it's been good. That's worked for me. So
it's probably going to work for you. Well, it will. Let's just put it that way.
It'll work for you.
Yeah.
Like, literally.
I think that's a pretty good place to end it, mate.
Yeah. Don't listen to the fucking news. It's bullshit.
Don't fucking listen to it.
Don't listen to it.
I think that was a fucking good episode, mate.
Mate, we went into some topics I didn't plan on going into.
Yeah.
A little bit. I've been holding back on that COVID shit for a while.
Yeah.
But I think now is with this other little project that we're working on with NFTs that will come out
pretty soon.
I think that the idea of activism and sharing that there is another opinion and there is an alternative media that isn't just what it's made out to be of you guys are fucking lunatics. You've got no information to back it up. Why would the government be lying to us? It's like, hang on a minute. They are lying to you, and there is a shitload of information that is not supported by mainstream media, that is not mentioned, that is not included in the authorized narrative, and that is attacked using specifically weaponized language to basically diminish and avoid a debate.
And this is the thing, another thing with the debate, that's gone out the window because you just get shut down. There's Instagram accounts get locked down, and there's no freedom of speech anymore.
No.
And this is another thing this is the open-minded podcast. If you want to argue with anything that we've got to say, put it in the comments or whatever. And if you've got a, like, this is why we called this the open-minded podcast, so we could have good conversations with people, so with other people who have different opinions to us, and we have a conversation. If you can't have a conversation about something, then you're never gonna. That's not democracy.
You're not open-minded. You're not learning. You're complacent, and you're stuck where you are. You aren't going to progress. And the other thing that I would add is, I used this analogy before, where, say for example, I came out and said I don't believe in God, but then God presents themselves to me and says you're wrong. I'd be like, okay, I'm wrong. Like, I haven't got some attachment to this belief, and I wouldn't even call this a belief. But if the evidence came out contrary to my current perspective, and I looked at it and it concluded it well, and it refuted the points, like, logically, to a satisfactory level, yeah, I'd be like, okay, I had the wrong opinion. My perspective was incorrect. Now I have a better view of it.
And that's such a dangerous position to be in, where you're not open to the fact of the other opinion.
If you're not open to being wrong, you're fucked. But in this situation, everything about it, of this perspective, has proven correct. And my actions and how they've played out throughout this kind of period have all worked out well. So I can't see where that piece of information is going to come from, that it's just going to fucking shut down that whole train of thought. So yeah, should we wrap it up there?
Let's wrap it up, mate.
So I think we're gonna probably start talking more about these kind of topics. I mean, you know, not that we've got loads of people commenting, but just don't send me any shit from BBC News, because I don't give a fuck, mate. Like, if you've got some serious information from some serious people, right, and that doesn't include the fucking health minister of any country, because they're all talking shit as well. Some serious information.
Bring it through.
Bring it through, mate, because I'm open to fucking consume it and have a conversation about it. So,
yeah,
cool.
Thank you so much for listening, people, each week. I can't thank you enough.
Yeah,
it really, and the messages, like, really means a lot to me. Like, I don't think, like, me and Isaac, I speak for both of us. It really means a lot to us. Obviously, we just do this for fun and because we love it. So for you guys to love it as well is just special. So yeah, thank you very much, and see you next time.
Thank you very much.